Welcome back. This is Sandy from Sandy's Organized Chaos, and today I will be showing you how I make my Peekaboo tropical tumbler. So let's get to it. I'm using a Hog 20 ounce plus skinny tumbler today. Please feel free to use any type of tumbler you have on hand to make this design. I'm going to unbox it, prep it, and paint it white. I just use a white primer paint by Rust-Oleum. I'm using two bigger size cut glitters for this. The first one is a Recollections Glitz. It's very pretty yellow. And I'll also be using a teal by Recollections of the same size cut. I will also be using a hot pink and a neon orange, which are a finer cut of glitter. I like the depth and colors that both size cuts give off. I'm just going to prep my board by opening the pour spout rather than the shaker side of my glitter shakers, so that way I have more control over where that glitter goes. My epoxy is ready to go, and I am just going to put a stripe across the front. Make sure that's rubbed in. If that's not enough, then add a little more, and then flip it and do the same thing on the other side, and then I'm going to rub it in really well so that way that glitter has something to stick to. My epoxy of choice is Alumilite's Amazing Clear Cast, but whatever epoxy you like, please use. After that's all rubbed in, I'm going to take my yellow glitz and I'm just going to put dashes of it around the tumbler. Now I'm going to move on to my teal, and I just like to kind of keep it up against the color I just did. So I just put a little bit here and there around the yellow. Now I don't want to use too much teal because the painted base is going to be teal, so I didn't want to use too much of that. And I'm going to do the same thing with the hot pink. I'm just going to put it under the yellow here and there and just fill in where I feel like it needs to be filled in. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my neon orange. I'm going to come in and fill in a little bit more of those spaces. Now I'm just going to come back through with my colors, and I'm going to just kind of pile them up just a little bit more so that way there's a little bit more depth to the color. I'm sure you probably noticed that there's some spots that I didn't put anything. That's because I felt like it needed just a little bit more yellow. So I'm just going to go around and fill all those places in. Love these colors, they're so bright and happy. After that's all done, I'm going to put it on my turner, and then I'm going to clean up my space. It's going to spin for about 3 hours, and then you want to give it a nice dose of clear coat and then another coat of epoxy. This has been drying for about 24 hours. Look at all those colors. So pretty. Honestly, that could be fine as is, but we're going to move on to do a peekaboo. So here I just found an SVG for palm leaves. I kind of like them more natural. I like to use scrap vinyl for my peekaboos, so that way, you know, I don't use all my good stuff for my peekaboos. After that's all cut, I'm going to take my vinyl off my board because I don't like to weed my vinyl on my board. It just makes it all gunky. I'm going to take my transfer tape and I'm going to start placing those leaves all over the tumbler. It doesn't matter where, just kind of here and there, whatever design you think looks best. Now I just wanted to stop here to show you how I mold the vinyl around the bottom of that tumbler. I just take a slit and then I use my fingers to kind of press and smooth it and warm it up a little so it forms better around those edges. After that's all done, I just like to take the heat of my hand and make sure that all those little bumps and all the edges are down flat on my tumbler because we don't want any of that paint seeping under. When you spray paint, you want to move outside or somewhere that's well ventilated. I'm using Seaside by Rust-Oleum, and I just want to give that a nice coat of paint all over the tumbler. I have my tumbler flipped upside down so that way no paint gets on the inside. I also like to stay about 12 inches away from it while I'm painting, and I start at the top and I work my way down in a back and forth motion to prevent those drips from happening. Let that cure for about an hour, and then I remove the vinyl after that because I feel like if it sits any longer, it just makes the vinyl a little bit harder to remove. So I just use an X-Acto knife and I carefully come through and I peel back that vinyl. The biggest thing with Peekaboos is trying not to scratch that outer layer of paint. So just be very careful when working. I'm gonna let that dry for another hour or two, if not longer than that, and then apply another coat of clear coat on it, put some epoxy on it, and then put your personalization on. The font I like to use for personalization on this tumbler is called Tomatoes, and you can find that on DeFont. Whether you decide to make this exact design or a different design, I hope that I made making Peekaboos look easy and fun to do, because they are fun. Here is a sneak peek of my next tutorial. This is an abstract wave design that I did, and I just can't wait to show you guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. If you'd like to check out my Etsy shop, the link is available in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.